Good afternoon. This is the regularly scheduled meeting for the Caldwell Hearing Examiner for February 11th, 2025 at 1:30. This is a public hearing, and my name is Sabrina Durchie, and I will be your hearing examiner for today. I can hear quasi-judicial decisions concerning particular land use applications for the City of Caldwell. During the public hearing process, public oral testimony will be taken for those in attendance and those who have signed up to speak. This sign-up sheet is at the front entrance of the room. When you testify, please come to the podium and speak directly into the microphone. Please begin with stating your full name and address, and all comments should be addressed to myself and be relevant to the application. Once the public hearing is open, staff will present the staff report, and then the applicant or the applicant's representative will be given 10 minutes to speak. After the applicant, we will follow for the public to have 3 minutes to testify, and finally the applicant or the applicant's representative will be permitted for a 5-minute rebuttal. After the rebuttal is given, the public hearing will be closed, and no new oral or written testimony will be allowed unless I decide to reopen the public hearing. I request that everyone treats all parties with fairness and respect, and therefore be quiet and respectful when someone is presenting. And we are also required by Idaho State Code to take written minutes during our public hearings. So please silence your cell phones, and thank you. Okay, let's get this rolling. So, on our consent calendar, action item was to approve the January 28th, 2025 hearing examiner meeting minutes, and we got that covered. Great. And we don't have any new business items. We do have one old business item, and this is for case number PUD 24-6, SPP 24-3. And we have the applicant, Becky Zagara, on behalf of Chad and Melinda McDaniel, is requesting to facilitate development of Miranza, is that the correct way? Mirandesa, excuse me, plan unit development, a mixed-use subdivision with single-family residential and commercial uses with an overall density of 3.42 units per acre. The proposed site is addressed at 1109 West Eustick Road and 0 Eustick Road, and is located at the southwest corner of Farmway Road and Eustick in Caldwell. And with that, Katie, would you like to start with your staff report, please?
Thank you, Madam Hearing Examiner. Katie Wright, Associate Planner, 205 South 6th Avenue. Before you today is Mirandesa Subdivision, PUD 2406, SPP 2406, and DEV 2404. This was continued from the January 28th Hearing Examiner. The project location is 42.33 acre parcel located on the southeast corner of Eustick Road and Farmway Road. The site has frontage along Eustick Road and Farmway. The project site is currently surrounded by a recently approved single-family development to the west, commercial and residential to the east, undeveloped land to the south, and residential to the north. There are 4 developments within a 1-mile radius of the subject site that are either actively under construction or have been approved for entitlements. The applications before you tonight are for a planned unit development with a preliminary plat for the whole site, and then the termination of the development agreement for Aspen Falls, which includes the parcel shown in yellow. In 2006, the southern parcel, R325940000, was part of an annexation, ANN 13406, of 207.65 acres with the initial zone of R1, with an associated development agreement, DA 0704. This project was proposed as a subdivision called Aspen Falls with 674 residential lots, 1 school site, but has since then expired. There was a time extension before the commission in 2009 that was denied, that was then appealed to City Council, which was also denied. The application is no longer active. That large green piece up to the, well, in normal orientation, it would be to the east, but on this photo, it's at the top. That was where that school site was proposed.
The area in brown, Katie?
Yes.
Okay. And that is, I can't read the top. Is it that's Eustick?
I apologize, that's Bear Lane.
Bear Lane? Okay. And then what's south is?
South is actually Farmway,
Okay.
and then what's on the left-hand side is Eustick.
Okay.
So it should be
Gotcha.
flipped.
No, I get it.
But just to get a fuller picture, we oriented it this way. The northern parcel, which is not shown as part of this site plan on the screen, parcel R3 259401000 was annexed into the city in 2007, and then 15307 with the zone C1 with an associated development agreement DAO 714 and a comp plan amendment from low density residential to commercial. This development agreement doesn't have anything that specifically restricts the parcel, allowing it to remain in place. The applicant is proposing to keep the existing zones of R1 and C2 to remain. The purpose of R1 low-density residential zone is to provide areas by zoning procedures in accordance with the comprehensive plan that preserves and enhances single-family residential neighborhoods at a single-family standard, which is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Such zones should have a full range of urban services available or projected to be established. And the purpose of the C1 neighborhood commercial zone is to provide areas by zoning procedures in accordance with the comprehensive plan that provide local commercial service needs located at select places at the perimeter of single-family residential neighborhoods and in conjunction with the policies of the comprehensive plan. The proposed development is surrounded by county land to the north and east, low-density residential to the south and northeast and northwest, and community commercial and low-density residential to the east. Staff finds the neighborhood commercial along the frontage of Eustick is an appropriate zoning district with low density to the south, buffering the commercial from other single-family development and agricultural land. The comp plan designation and development is business and low-density residential is consistent with the intent of the comp plan, and the proposed densities are compliant with the comprehensive plan. The proposed development is mixed use. The applicant's proposing a development consisting of 3.35 acres of commercial, 1.78 acres of townhomes, and 18.11 acres of single-family homes. The housing mix consists of 24 townhomes, 48 patio-style homes, 54 62-foot wide single-family lots, and 19 72-foot single-family lots. The proposed development project has been analyzed for compliance with city codes and policies, and staff finds the proposed development is in compliance with all parking and landscape requirements, bulk standards for lot size, setbacks, frontage, and height of building. The development's also in compliance with all size, land use, design, and amenity requirements and all other zoning and subdivision ordinances. This does have the exception of the flexibility that they are requesting, which code section 100307 states that standards are allowed to be modified to better suit the site and project. The applicant's proposing the following allowed deviations: a height increase to 35 feet within the R1 zone, 5-foot internal side setback and minimum lot size of 4,932 square feet for single-family detached lots, 0-foot internal side setback, minimum lot size of 3,190 square feet, and 29-foot frontage for townhome lots, and commercial use street side setbacks reduced to 15 feet. The applicant's also utilizing the flexibility in the code, allowing the development 30%, especially in non-permitted uses. This development's proposing 28.6% non-permitted uses within underlying zones to allow the commercial to be along the intersection. The development agreement termination that's being proposed is supported by city staff, as staff has sent letters to each current property owner within the boundaries of the Aspen Falls development agreement. They were provided the termination language and signature pages to show their support of this termination. We've asked that they return these by February 14th so they are able to be provided prior to the decision from City Council. The proposed development will have adequate site access and all utilities are available or will be available as outlined in the engineering staff report. Public agencies were notified and asked to provide comments. The only agencies that had concerns were Highway District Number 4 had comments for the council to consider, and Boise Project Board of Control requests the Pioneer Lateral be maintained and that they be involved in any decisions impacting the easement. We received 2 public comments. Both were from Patty Soren from the neighborhood about the neighborhood meeting time and place, making it difficult to attend. And the site-specific conditions for the applicant for this application are as follows. All commercial uses shall adhere to the C1 land use schedule. And staff recommends that if the hearing examiner recommends approval of the request, that such request is subject to the conditions as specified in findings of facts, conclusions of law, and order of decision. And I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Katie.
Yes.
So I'm not going to be making a recommendation on the DA mod, but just for the testimony and stuff, can you kind of walk us through that, why we had to postpone this hearing and notice the neighbors?
Yes, thank you, Madam Hearing Examiner. So the city felt that it was ingenuine to move forward without notifying all of the neighboring parcels about the termination of this development agreement. There were around 15 properties at this time that were encompassed by the original Aspen Falls. And all of those properties should be properly noticed that this DA is going to be either altered or terminated. So we, as staff, sent out letters to all of them and notifying them that this DA termination is being requested and that the city staff believes that this would be in their best interest as well. So we also sent them all of the language for that termination that was in the packet. And then we also sent them individual sheets for them to sign and notarize so that we can get their support of that termination. And I have had a few people call or come in and ask follow-up questions, but none of them seem overly concerned after they just understand what the process of that is.
Okay, great.
Essentially, the reason we wanted to move forward with termination rather than a modification was because a lot of the old requirements were not things that a lot of these single-family residential lot owners would be able to ever complete unless their land were purchased and ultimately a larger development were to go through, which would again end up in a DA modification anyways.
Okay.
So we felt like this was the cleanest route.
To terminate, okay. And then we'll make sure that legal description's updated correctly.
Yes,
To notate
correct.
termination, okay, great. So I guess, why did council deny their request for extensions, time request extensions?
Madam Hearing Examiner, based on what I found, some of these files were a little tricky to filter through, in all honesty. I know that the original approval of Aspen Falls, the recommendation from the commission was a denial. Ultimately, it went to council, was continued because they wanted more input from the school district, and then ultimately was approved. The denial, I believe, was that they didn't believe that this fit out in that area any longer. That could be misinterpretation of what I found, but that seemed to be the
And when was that request made?
2009.
2009?
Yes,
Okay.
and again, that was 207 acres, 600 some single-family homes. So
So
it
much
was
different. Okay.
it was large development.
What does the new comp plan show for this area?
So the new comp plan shows for this area up along U Stick, it does show community center.
Okay.
And then I want to say just south of that, it's neighborhood 2. So do you have any other further questions about the?
No, I'm familiar with those.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
yes. I did have questions for engineering. I'm a little disappointed they're not here. Maybe the applicant can answer some of these. There was discussion, I think in the letter of intent, talking about the water main in Ustick. This is going to be constructed by someone else. So I was wanting to know what was the status of that. And also, I was noticing there were seepage beds that were not calculated in the open space calcs, thank you, but they talked about stormwater ponds, and I did not see those identified on the site plan. And then as far as the TIS, that roundabout at the intersection, what is the status of that? And do you know when that's going to be improved?
Madam Hearing Examiner, unfortunately, I do not know when that is going to be improved. When the applicant presents, I can message engineering and see if they're able to get back to me.
Okay, that'd be great. Okay. I think that's all the questions I have at the moment. Would the applicant or applicant's representative like to come up, please? Give me your name and address for the record.
John Carpenter, thank you. I'm with Ardura, and my address is 332 North Broadmoor. I'm gonna hit on those two questions before I get started.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So the roundabout, that's a 2026 timeline.
Okay,
So there's some irrigation work that has to happen that's not gonna get done this year, that they'll do next fall, and they'll be building it in 2026.
okay,
And then as far as the seepage beds and the swales are right over the top of the seepage beds.
okay, so they're on top.
So nuisance
Okay.
waters is going into the seepage beds and then it's backing up to really very shallow swales.
Okay. Thank you.
Marandessa subdivision, as noted there, we are annexed, we are zoned. This is preliminary plat, and we're talking about development agreement a little bit, but that's gonna go before city council as noted. Map here just kind of indicates what's in the city and what isn't, which is kind of important to me. A lot of this area was annexed back in 2006, a big area. So if you look to the south, there's a lot of yellow. I actually worked on that project, so I was a part of that 207 acres. And then if you look
Oh,
across.
the one that's south directly and that connects over?
Yep.
Okay,
And then if you look across the street kitty corner, there's another large parcel. I didn't work on that one, but that was annexed as well. A and B are two different property owners back in the day. A was part of Aspen Falls. B was just kind of a standalone, and that came in as commercial with a different applicant. You see a lot of subdivisions in the city that were noted, but the white that's directly to the east and to the north, those are county subdivisions. They're fairly decently dense, but residential all the way around to the east and to the north, just to kind of point that out. Some of those have community water systems to allow for smaller lots. Just background, let me hit these real quick. I've actually said most of them. Property directly across Farmway was recently annexed, so yeah, that showed up. So the one that's not colored, just directly to the west, that was recently annexed. And I can't point with this thing, but along our east boundary, there's an irrigation ditch there. That's a pioneer ditch. There's a 40-foot swath of ground. We can't do anything. It gives us a nice buffer to the neighbors. There is the opposition letter that we did get, that's to the east. So we've got that 40-foot buffer there that kind of works in everybody's favor. As far as what's going on in the area, I don't know if you've driven out there, but Farmway is under construction. It's going to be that way for the next year plus. The city is bringing sewer and water all the way down to Homedale and then down Homedale. So a lot of stuff going on. The city is putting a well for fire protection and just drinking water on the north side of the intersection, northeast. And then we talked about that roundabout earlier, but the city's really concentrating a lot of effort in this area to get it set up for development. Highlighted down there, I said property is already in the city, well within the impact area, right? So we're right there. Caldwell's planning on growth in this area, and I think everybody in the room knows, but we're short on housing, and this is a good spot for it. I'm going to click through some of these fairly quickly. It's kind of an overall map. One thing that I like about our developer, Not shy on landscaping, not shy on that, doing a nicer project. Todd Campbell does really nice homes, and nice to have his product here in the city of Caldwell. I think Caldwell will really like that. But as you come into the project heading south off of Eustic, that whole main strip is set up as a collector road, which is not required by engineering, but that's just to give it a nice look as you come in. Center islands, the whole way down, and then on either side, right and left, landscape buffer, and as you come to that T intersection, you look straight across park area. So it's really nice. The Eustic and Farmway, that's all nice berm. Aside from the commercial area, we'll have that relatively, not a tall berm so you can see the commercial units, but along the residential, nice tall berm, plenty of landscaping, and yeah, just a nice feel to the development. There's commercial at the northwest, and then to the east along Eustic, there's a little bit of higher density there. Those are twin units, so like a townhouse, but two of them. So duplex where you can buy either side. To the south of that is our common area. I've got a better map I'm going to take you to here in a second, I guess. That's our phasing. I won't spend any time on that one. We've got 6 phases. I'm going to flip back and forth here real quick. The pink that you see there, if that shows up good enough for you, that's the patio homes. So those are detached, single family. And then the rest of them are standard single family. And, excuse me one second. And so, yeah, the open space is situated between what's a little smaller product up on the top. So we've got tot lot, play equipment, seating, and so forth.
And where was that at? That was in the larger open space?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Where was the amenity at?
Yeah, I can't point with this thing, but the larger one has the amenities in it. They both do, but the larger one sandwiched between the pink and the blue, that's got your play structures.
Okay.
And then it's got like a fire pit and seating and so forth. And then the long north-south one, that's got the pathways, it's got a covered, you can sit under it, some benches and fire pit, and then it's got some outdoor exercise equipment along it. Set up for walkability. So if I can hit these slides real quick. Commercial at the corner, we've got 8 commercial lots. Not exactly sure what they're going to be exactly, but that would be like a dentist, physical therapy, that kind of stuff. And then the for sale duplex townhome lots, those are really nice. You can see the pictures there. That just gives people an opportunity to buy their own unit and to try to have a nice looking structure, but to get a little better price on it. It's right up on Eustic, which is very busy, so it makes sense for the location across the street from the commercial. The patio homes, those are a little skinnier, but those are all detached, and again, very nice homes. And then the single family lots, we've got a couple different sizes broken up, but these are roughly 7,000 to 8,000 square feet. And then we've got 8,000 to 9,000 square feet. And the open space there, qualified, we're over that 10% by a little bit. If you look at what we have for the overall, I can't read that real well, but almost 19%, I believe is what it is. Those storm drainage basins you were asking about, 90% of the water is going to the subsurface. It's just a little bit of rise in a bigger 100-year storm event. So you're not seeing a pond or something that's going to bother people. So yeah, nice open space in the project. And then I talked about the landscaping, but yeah, we've got pathways going throughout, and I think I hit on all that. So deviations that we have, we're asking for a 5-foot setback instead of 6. Very typical for the valley for 5 feet, as you're aware. Street side 15 feet, which is standard, and then we're looking for a little smaller lots, just to give a little diversity and opportunity for buyers coming in. Roadways. I'm actually going to have Justin Pitcher come up and talk about roadways and utilities. and then I'll be right back to answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. Hello, welcome.
Do I need to state my name and address?
Yeah,
Okay.
just-
Justin Pitcher, 332 North Broadway in Nampa.
Thank you.
For this site, we'll have 11 new roadways, the interior roadways. U-stick, we will be widening per Caldwell's requirements. There will be a 10-foot detached walk along there. The entrance off of U-stick will be right in, right out, and then left in only because of the roundabout that's going to be there. Farmway will be developing or designing to meet the Farmway corridor plan that Highway District 4 has put together. That'll also have 10-foot detached sidewalks with a 8-foot parkway strip between the back of curb and sidewalk. And then the entrance off of Farmway will be right in, right out as well. For our potable water connections, we'll connect a 12-inch water main in U-stick and a 16-inch water main in Farmway Road. For sewer, we're going to connect the 12-inch to the 12-inch sewer main that will be built in U-stick Road and the 36-inch in Farmway Road. Pressure irrigation, we're going to construct a pump station using water from the Pioneer lateral that we talked about before. And we will work with the Boise Project Board of Control on that. For stormwater, everything will be retained and infiltrated on site through 3 retention ponds and subsurface storage. There's 2 seepage beds besides the interior ones, one for the commercial and one for U-stick road drainage. And then Farmway will have roadside swales to capture that stormwater runoff. The existing gravity irrigation drainage that goes through the site will be piped and rerouted, discharging as it does now into an existing ditch on the north. I'll hand it back over to John.
Just sitting there, I think the only other couple items that I would say is Caldwell has enacted a new traffic impact fee. You're probably fully aware of that. So in the staff report, it talks about traffic mitigation. That's a big X through it now. This project will do somewhere, I don't know exactly, but it's more than $600,000 in traffic impact fees. As Justin noted, we're not trying to chintz out on anything on the streets. All the sidewalks are detached with nice buffers between them. So I think that's all I have to
Great.
say for my presentation, if you have any questions.
Yes, I have a few. So I think it was explained to me, but the commercial's so kind of wonky how it's designed, and that's based on the existing zoning that was created back when Aspen was done. So that's why you guys are trying to reconfigure it into a more, I don't know, functional layout for the commercial. Then that's why you're asking for the 28%, yes. Yeah,
Correct, Madam Hearing Examiner. If you look at the map there, you see it is kind of wonky, I would agree with you. And it's nice to get it right on that hard corner because it's going to be super busy right around that roundabout. So instead of having, kids running around there, living in that space, we just tucked that commercial in there.
sure, okay, that makes sense. And then I was a little concerned with the neighbors' comments about the neighborhood meeting.
Yeah.
So it sounded like it was dark, it wasn't safe. Were you there? Can you walk me through it? Tell me who attended, were her concerns addressed?
I was not there. Becky handled that meeting. That meeting was at Brothers Park. If you're familiar with that, that's a soccer complex. They have parking lots. Depending on the night, it either works out good or it doesn't, is what I would say.
Okay,
And then we did it in the winter time, so I would say maybe it's not going to be ideal for everybody. We offered, you know, Becky always offers up business cards. Anybody wants to call me afterwards, that kind of stuff, just to help out. I think it was fine and appropriate for what we're doing, but you know, it's a little difficult unless you get indoors somewhere during the winter time.
Right.
So you try to get it in a parking lot that was safe and out of the way.
Okay. So the commercial component, I'm assuming the applicant's not going to be building that. That's going to be sold separately and developed by a different developer, correct?
It's going to be sold separately.
Yeah, okay.
Todd Campbell doesn't typically build commercial. He'll throw something at me sitting back there if I'm misspeaking for him. But there's not a huge demand for commercial along Ustick in this area. So if you look further to the east, you'll see quite a bit of commercial that's just sitting in that area. His focus is on the residential. What we have planned out there appears to all of us to be appropriate
Okay.
amount of space.
And that'll be
Yes.
one of the later phases, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay. And some of your reductions, you were asking for a height exception for the 35 feet. Is that for the single family, or is that the duplexes? What product are you needing that extra height?
Yeah, and I can be corrected if I'm wrong here. The new code that's getting adopted changes everything to 35. So Caldwell's
Okay.
going to have a standardized 35 feet.
So I'm sorry, I'll just follow up with Katie. Katie, that is going to fall under the building permits then that are being submitted with the new zone code? How is that?
Madam Hearing Examiner, are you referring to when we'd be checking the height?
Yeah,
That would all be at time of building permit.
okay, so with the new code, okay.
It's difficult to build a two-story house and get it less than 25 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I understand. I know you're gonna be rerouting the lateral on the site, and you have that easement that's on the east side of the property that, I was just wondering, how you were gonna be handling fencing for that location? Or is it gonna be open style fencing? What is the plan?
Okay. So take me one at a time. Which lateral were you talking about?
It's on the east side, I think it's a Pioneer Irrigation
Okay.
easement. And
Yep.
that's why you have that large common lot
Uh-huh.
that kind of abuts the property adjacent.
Yeah.
So,
So it's already all piped.
okay,
So you can drive right over the top of it today. There's a wide dirt road, and then their easement's a little further than that. We're putting the fence line right on the edge of the easement.
okay,
So we've got to keep all of that. We can't put a fence within their easement. We tried to actually get a pathway within their easement, which made a lot of sense to me since it was plenty wide. They said, forget it. No people.
okay,
So the fence is literally going right on the easement line,
okay. So there'll just be one fence. There's not gonna be two.
just one.
Okay, okay. I think I had some questions for Haley now that you're here. I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit close, so
Sit
if you have
close,
anything
just
else.
in case I have come up with some more questions. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Haley, thank you. Would you walk me through the TIS, just what because their traffic impact study showed impacts to like multiple intersections. I know that the applicant addressed that the roundabout will be coming in 2026. I was just wondering if you could kind of just tell me the area and what the city has planned and how that works with this project.
Yes, absolutely. And I apologize, I was late. I thought I got all of these on my calendar, and clearly I
It's okay.
forgot today's.
No problem, thank you.
Regarding the traffic in the area, the applicant is correct. The U-Stick roundabout was supposed to occur this year. However, there were some application issues that the Highway District ran into, so it's pushed back to next year. So they should be beginning construction at the end of this current year when irrigation water turns off. So that roundabout will be coming online next year for traffic in this area. Regarding other intersections and other roadways, Farmway is currently under construction, as the applicant mentioned, doing some repavement. So this isn't going to add any more capacity, but it does add it is going to be making this road a lot better, so that'll be improvement. And then the U-Stick Road, I believe the U-Stick Road is within our CIP. It doesn't extend all the way to this intersection, but portions of U-Stick are included in our CIP. So impact fees will be able to go towards U-Stick as you get closer into the Caldwell downtown area. And with our impact fees, we're going to be able to start improving a lot of roads and intersections in this area. I don't have the traffic report in front of me at the moment, so I do apologize for coming
That's okay.
unprepared. If there's a specific intersection that you have a concern about?
No, I was just curious about overall timing.
Okay.
Yes, because it had mentioned in the report that it was impacting several intersections, so I was just curious how that was planned, so.
Yeah, so currently this year, we don't have a lot of construction planned in this area other than that Farmway Road. A lot of improvements are going to be occurring next year and future years.
Okay. And then one of my other concerns is the traffic impact fee. Typically, that gets tied in with the development agreement, but we won't have one. How is that conditioned, or do you need a development agreement to enforce the traffic impact fees?
Thankfully, no. The way that our impact fees are written is we'll be able to charge impact fees at building permit.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure. Perfect. I don't think I have any other questions. Let me just make sure. No, I think I'm good. Would you like to come back up for rebuttal, or anything else you'd like to share? Okay, great. All right. I will close the public hearing. And based on the staff report findings and written and oral testimony, I'll recommend approval to City Council for this application. Thank you. You're welcome. We don't have no new business, so this was it. And I will close our public hearing. It is 2:08.